Hey, welcome back to our live coverage here from Microsoft Ignite. I'm Joey Snow, and I tell you what, I am super excited because I have to tell I'm going to tell a quick story really, really fast. I did an interview with my next guest as I was looking for my next role at Microsoft, and I had to have her on because that interview and talk about obsession and customer obsession in a place that I want to be. I've got Sue Bone with me. Sue, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Joey.
So,
nice to be here.
Tell everybody at home who you are, what you do.
Sure. I'm Sue Bone. I run the Customer and Partner Success Team for the Identity Division. So our job is to make sure we're listening to customers and helping them be successful, and then using what we learn to help make our services better.
So this is what I absolutely love about the product that we work on is we're not a whole bunch of smart people in a room predicting what the future is. It's about what the customer and what the customer needs. So let's talk about this a little bit. You finally made it to Microsoft Ignite.
Isn't it amazing?
We have a history over the last couple of years with about 2 days before Microsoft Ignite not coming.
Yeah, so last year I was recovering from an appendectomy. And the year before, I was not able to travel because I broke my arm on a Segway hoverboard at work. But do we really have to talk about that on live stream? Oh my God.
No, we won't talk about it. I just remember seeing it go by and going, that's not going to end. Oh.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a growth mindset gone bad.
That's perfect. I'm going to use that, growth mindset gone bad.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, in the last 3 years, there's been a pretty amazing change in what's happening in our space from where we started 3 years ago at Microsoft Ignite till now. Yeah. Talk a little bit more about that.
Oh, so I would have to say now, showing up and looking at sort of this 3 years worth of transformations, that there are multiple transformations, not just the digital transformation that we talk about every day and that we're watching our customers journey through. But I also think there's been a journey around passwordless. And then another one that sort of occurred to me this week as I've sort of thought of everything that's going on is I feel like there's a diversity and inclusion transformation that's ahead of us as well.
Let's start at the beginning and talk about this digital transformation and the customer obsession that we have. But I want to tee it up with you. What have you found? You've been here a couple of days now. The conversations, the things that you've done, what are those highlights for you that you're going to take back?
Oh, there's so many things. We're learning a lot to just shape the features and the capabilities we have. One of the things, though, that I think is, but why am I here? Not just to hear from new customers, but to also shake hands with the customers I know. And so it's been really like a reunion and seeing the customers we've been working with for years that are like family. And so just giving a chance to connect and see how they're doing, what they're working on. And then realize as I look out that these are all my future customers as well. So it's all good.
So we want our future customers to come join our family.
Yes.
And that's what is so super appealing to this,
yes.
Is that it is family and that is exactly how we treat it. Let's talk about digital transformation. Let's talk about today's hybrid day.
Indeed.
Where a lot of the interviews and stuff that we're doing are kind of around the hybrid piece. So
did you do that on purpose? Did you put me on hybrid day on purpose?
Can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay. Well, good, because...
Of course we did.
Well, one of the things that happens when you listen to customers is you realize that some of the things that you'd love them to do aren't as easy as we might have hoped. And so when we looked at, for example, passwordless, customers have said, hey, love it, but it's a moonshot. How do I get there from here? So one of the things in talking to customers that we learned is that we really have to meet them where they are. And so we've really looked at being able to give them the ability to use a security key, a FIDO2 key, in order to access their legacy applications. And not just single sign-on, but in a secure way. So they can use some of our features like our conditional access and identity protection, so that really brings the power of the cloud and the security that's available to the applications that they already have. And that gives them time to move. And then in some cases, they have some apps they'll probably never move.
So we started with the passwordless journey a couple of years ago. And from there, we've then made significant changes because of what the customers are bringing to us?
Yes.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
I have to call out because I'm being blinded by your glitter. What do you have going on there? What do you have?
Well, this is my YubiKey. And hardware is really cool, but it's even cooler when you can personalize it. So this is a YubiKey with the bling decals. And you can go to their booth and you can see they have a variety of different styles so that you can make it your own. So that's my YubiKey.
Passwordless, have we reached that point yet? Are we there yet for the masses to start consuming?
Well, I think it's crossed the chasm as an entire concept. If you think of, 2 years ago we talked a lot about Windows Hello. Last year we talked a lot about our Authenticator app. This year we're talking about the security keys. So there's lots of choices. And one of the things that I love about Ignite is we study all our telemetry and we come up with what are the official numbers that we know are absolutely true that we can talk about everywhere. And one of those is, as we've looked at passwordless, is we have over 100 million users of passwordless across those different 3 choices. So just starting to get into the FIDO keys, FIDO 2.0 keys, but there are choices and people can do it today.
Windows Hello, FIDO keys, the Authenticator app,
Absolutely.
It is all approachable today.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. You mentioned not only the digital transformation as one of the 3 things that you talked about, and then passwordless. I want to spend a little bit of time on a third topic and something that I'm very passionate about, particularly if you see the sticker on my laptop, which is this new, which is the diversity and inclusion pieces. And how, I want to ask you this, how has technology in the cloud changed and started to enable some of these things?
Well, I don't know that diversity and inclusion is new, but I think our awareness and our desire to do something is new, or at least is increasing. So one of my ahas being here at Ignite, first of all, I was in a panel, a D&I panel with Ann Johnson on Monday, but sort of looking at all of the opportunity we have in the cloud, hearing about we have a shortage of people who really understand security, all of the different transformations. Kurt talked about that we have, every company is now going to be a software company. There's a tremendous need for people who understand this and who can harness this to solve the world's problem, and as we would say in the Microsoft mission, achieve more. And then we have on the other side this notion of inclusion in people who aren't necessarily feeling like they've been given a chance or that they haven't been heard. And if you put those 2 things together, you have supply and demand, and you can create a world where we can have people bringing their best self to work and using their talent to solve some of these big problems that we have in the world that we can solve with computing.
We were talking earlier about a conversation, and we don't need to get into all the details of the conversation, but one of the things I wanted to call out was a learning that you had this morning about maybe that transition, maybe that inclusion is us upscaling, up-leveling ourselves even, and opening that up. As we talk about, hey, I'm a lot further along now than I used to be because of the technology. And
yeah, so when you asked me earlier, what have I learned this week? There's so many things, but if you want to talk about what did I learn an hour ago?
It was just an hour ago.
That's the one that's freshest in my mind.
That is fantastic.
I was at breakfast with F5 and we were talking about the ability to have, frankly, de-risking the ability to go to the cloud and to be able to use all of the cloud authentication technologies. And then Mark, one of my customers, came up and said, hey, good to see you, and said, hey, one of the things I miss is where's the really deep technical sessions. And we've done a lot of things to go. There's more people moving to the cloud. We've done, and my talk was in the learning path. He said, where are the deep talks? So the idea I had was, why don't we do an expert path? And that's inclusion. So we don't just say, let's just do the learning path. Let's make sure that everyone has something and has this ability to get what they need when they come to Ignite. And so that's an idea I'm taking back with me.
That's amazing, and how everybody is growing and changing. I have to show this right now. So we've got a poll going on aka.ms/msignite, MA, or of course you can point, there is a poll up. The poll is open. It says, where do you run Active Directory currently? It's like I set this up. I totally set this up. If you look, 31% saying on premises, 23% in Azure, but look at that, 46% hybrid.
Absolutely, not surprised.
46% hybrid. So how does this is the type of feedback that changes what we do as we develop the product moving forward.
Yes, and we've had a number of things where we've had to step back. If we just sit in Redmond and think about what we should build, we're going to build what we think is interesting, not what's going to solve necessarily our customers' problems in the best way. And so these are the best conversations we can have to shape what we build and even come up with new ideas.
What does customer obsession mean to you?
Well, how much time do we have?
At least 3.5 minutes.
Okay. Well, I would say that just to net it out to like say 3 things. The way I think about it, and my team spends a lot of time with customers, and how do we make sure that we do, get the most value? The first thing is really to have a face-to-face conversation. Like it is so much more real to be across the table or sitting together and hearing what a customer's challenges are than to read about it or to get votes somewhere on a website. So really understanding and going deep in understanding what the customer wants, that's the first one. So face-to-face, direct interaction. The second one is really listening. And we have these everything is technical or it's got some kind of structure. We talk about tell mode and listen mode. And so we want to make sure that we're in listen mode more than we're in tell mode, because that's going to be good for both sides. It makes sure that the customer feels heard and that their needs are understood, and then it'll help us, as I was saying earlier, make the product better. So first we're going to talk to you face-to-face. Second of all, we're going to listen. And then last is really that from all of that, we develop empathy. Now that kind of sounds like a buzzword, but it really, probably in normal language, would say that's like, we've felt like we walked a mile in your shoes. And so when a customer says passwordless is a moonshot, or there's no way that I can do that because I have too many of my applications are on-prem, I can't move as fast as you're asking me to, that we actually can figure out a journey with a set of click stops that can help a customer get there.
I think this is absolutely 100% relevant here at Microsoft Ignite. If you have a chance to come by and speak to us at the Azure Active Directory booth that is on the show floor, or if you have a chance to interact with any of the identity folks, including online, we've got a bunch of people on Twitter that are doing just this normal, regular, average conversation. I really encourage everybody to do that. This is, like I said, the main reason I came to work in this is because of this customer obsession. We're not just going to be building things inside of a vacuum. We want to get our customers to be successful. We want to get our customers to where they need to be.
Yes.
One last little bit of follow-up. What's next?
What's next? Well, I'm going to tell you we don't have a detailed 10-year roadmap, because we're going to listen to customers and they're going to help us decide where we go. And so I can't tell you exactly what, but ultimately when we want to get to the cloud, we want to have all of our customers be secure. We want to help all our customers get to their digital transformation. But we'll do that a year at a time as we listen at Ignite, as we listen throughout every conversation we have all year long. And we'll continue to go cloud, go passwordless.
And secure and protect that identity.
Yes.
And please enable multi-factor authentication.
Yes, and then conditional access.
With conditional access.
Yes, yes, of course.
Hey, everybody, Sue, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you, and I love the fact that we get to tell the masses what I get to do every single day. I don't work a day in my life because I love what I do.
I love what I do.
Thanks, everybody, so much. And now, oh, goodness, Amy, community reporter, she's standing by out there in the field. We're going to go now to Amy. Sue, thank you so much.
You bet.
See you in a bit.
Thanks, Joey.
Hi, this is Amy. Good morning.